Hello everyone, I'm back now with our third card, and this one is going to be the one with the Sahara Sand. Just look at all that shine in that paper. It looks so elegant. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to be embossing a strip here, and we're going to also emboss the same paper for the inside here. So you want to emboss both of those at the same time. And like I said, if you're getting the kits, then I've already embossed that for you, just in case you don't have that embossing folder. All right, you're going to need a 5.5 by 8.5 sheet of cardstock, folded in half at 4 1/4. This is just a basic A2 card. All right, so you're going to need that. You're going to need another little piece here, about 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. To cut the label out. And we're going to be using the, I think it's called stitched labels die. Yeah, stitched nested labels dies. These are really cool. There's 8 of them, and so each one will fit inside the bigger one, so that when you put them together you've got this little stitched border all around. And then you've got this thing down here, in case you get this set and you don't know what it is. This little piece down here, I don't know if you can see it really well, it makes a punched border. I don't know if you can see through that, but it's just really cute. It's got 2 lines on the side, and then it's got the punched holes in the middle. It looks like you sewed it. That's really cute. Okay, put that aside here. We're also going to be using the Country Floral embossing folder. This is a 3D embossing folder, so it makes, I don't know if you can tell, it's really thick, and it makes the embossing really high. Look at this piece. Look at that rose right there. I don't know, can you tell how high that is? I wanted to make sure I got that when I embossed, so it was on here because I love that rose. I guess it's a rose. I don't know. I call every flower a rose. It looks like a rose, but oh well. Okay, so then you're going to have also, you're going to have the sheet of the Sahara Sand Love You Always specialty paper. That's going to be going right down here on the bottom of the front of the card. This piece here is going to be at the top. This is a piece that's going to go in the inside. You have a piece that's cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and this is just going to get glued down here for the inside. I tried to cut it a little bit longer than the Whisper White so that you could, so it made sure it fit, and then you can just trim off the edge here if there's a little bit hanging over. I just wanted to make sure it was large enough to go across all the way. Sometimes my measurements are a little off, so. All right, so that's going to go in here. Okay, we got another piece of the basic white, or Whisper White. You need a piece, I guess, I don't know, about 1 3/4 by maybe 3 inches to cut it out. And that's going to be laying like this. Okay. Then you're also going to have a piece of the foil to cut the love out of. And then I'm going to stamp the U in Sahara Sand ink right below it. And then I've used Sahara Sand ribbon on the outside. And these little leaves and stems, they come from the sunflower dies. I don't know, I like them hanging out. It just, I don't know, I just like it. I don't know why I like it. Okay, so this is the inside again. Love you with my whole heart. And I've got this across. Now if you can see a little white right there, see I didn't get mine long enough. So that's why I made sure that yours was long enough. Okay, this piece in here, normally you would put a piece that's 4 by 5 1/4, but I wanted to leave a little bit more border on it, so I used 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, so here's the ribbon. It's a Sahara Sand ribbon. And again, this time I'm going to show you how to do the bow with the comb. Okay, so we got that there. Let's get started. These are the little leaf things from the sunflower dies. Put them up out there, out of the way. Okay, now let's get started here. I've got to stand up again because I want you to be able to see. All right, so I've got in my card front, my card base, I have already cut it 5.5 by 8.25, 8.5, fold it in half at 4.25. Okay, so we're going to do that first. Then I've just embossed these two pieces. I put them in together. I wanted to make sure that I got the rose on there, so I put it like this. Now, when you use the embossing folder, you want to make sure that the part that is flat, if you rub your hand across it, you can feel it's flat. This one is really bumpy. You want to make sure this is on the back of your cardstock, because when it goes through, that's what pushes your paper up to make the embossing. So if I put it in the other way, then my embossing is going to be all on this side. So you want to make sure that you put it in the right way. Now, I know that most of Stampin' Up's folders, this part, what does the embossing, is on the back. And they have the Stampin' Up label on the front. And you can also tell because the top is a little bit wider than the back. But there has been a couple where they did not do that. So make sure when you are embossing anything that your paper is going to be in there the right way so that you get the embossing raised instead of getting it debossed. Okay, let's lay that aside. So I've already embossed mine just to save time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue this right here. Let's see, do I want the rose that way or this way? I want it up top. Okay. This paper goes either way, so it doesn't really matter which direction you put it in. I'm going to get my, again, I use a multi-purpose glue. And because this is embossed with a deep embossing, I'm going to put a little X right there just to get a little bit more glue on there. Make sure it sticks down well. Okay, so you're just going to line this up again with the top of the card, front. Make sure that the border is equal distance, you know, as well as you can get it. Now, again, I don't want to smash my embossing, so I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take my bone folder and just lightly go over it to spread out that glue and give it a good burnish. Okay, make sure you get the corners really well and all the edges. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now for the bottom part. This part here, let's get out of there. All right, it's going to be glued onto here. Now you want to make sure that you get the bottom with a little border equal to the top, and you want to make sure that the sides are even on both sides. If they're not, now's the time to trim it a little bit if it's going to show. Okay, but because I'm putting the ribbon on, remember what I said, I always make sure that I look, and if there's ribbon, I need to put it on first, because you'll get your whole card done if you don't, and then you realize, oh, I forgot the ribbon. Ask me how I know that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this, it just goes this way on your card front, either direction, it doesn't matter. So I've cut a piece of ribbon, like I said before, just barely over the edge of the paper, so I have enough room to put it behind. Okay, and so what I like to use my seal, and I want this to go right up at the top of my paper there. So I'm going to take the seal, and I'm going to just put some right there at the top, and a little bit over here at the top, and I get very close. There you go. And I'm going to lay my ribbon right at the top of it, so it doesn't, the edge does, I don't want the edge to show. Okay, so then I'm going to just flip that under, press it down into my seal. It's got glue on all over me again. And then I'm going to make sure it's straight and do the same thing on this side. Now you don't want to pull it too tight because you don't want your paper to fold when you try to glue it down. Okay, so just turn it over and make sure that's down good. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on again. Now, if you wanted to use dimensionals on this, you can also do that as well, but I just wanted mine to be flat on this part. Okay. I'm just going to take this piece here, take my card front. Again, I'm going to line it up at the bottom so that I have equal distance. And then I want to lay it so that the sides are even and they don't show over top of each other. Okay, and I'm just going to press it down with my fingers and then open it up and burnish this part. If you get in the habit of doing this with your bone folder, you won't forget, and it'll be like second nature when you're making cards. But it really does make the cards a lot better so they don't fall apart. Okay, I've never had a card fall apart when using the Stampin' Dimensionals or the glue, but if I've used Stampin' Dimensionals from another company, a lot of times they will fall apart. They'll fall off. The layers will just fall right off. I'm not saying that just because I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm saying it because it happened before I was a demonstrator. Okay, so, all right, so that's that part. We're going to go ahead and, let's see here. That down there, that down there. Oh, I guess I forgot to cut out the love. Oh, no, I didn't. It's right here. Okay, so I've already cut out the love. I've already glued it down. Now, with the tiny letters like this, you can use the, what's it called? There's like a paper, I can't think of the name of it now, but a sticky on both sides. It's got a lining on it. But what you do is you pull off the protective cover on one side, you lay down the paper that you're going to cut, and you lay down the die over top of that. And when you cut it out, the sticky paper comes on the back of the love, and you just have to peel the protective coating off and just stick it down. You don't have to worry about glue that way. But what I do is I take a little silicone mat, because glue does not stick to that. I take a piece of my sponge. Now this one I've used for ink, but I have a special one that I use for glue. And I put just put a little dot of glue right here on the edge. Take my sponge, just put it in there and dab it up. I have my paper, the die cut, turned upside down, and I just hold it and dab the glue on the back. And then I pick it up, and it sticks very well, and you don't have glue sticking out the sides. Unless you're sloppy like me, then you might have some glue sticking out the side. Okay, so we got this on. Now we're going to go ahead and put our label on, and I'm going to use dimensionals for this part. Okay, so again, I like to use several because I don't want it to sag in the middle. So there we go. 6 should be enough. Take off the protective covering. I've got glue on my fingers, so it's going to take me longer this time to get the paper off of them. Sure. I need to practice with that take-a-pick tool so I can do it like I've seen them. Okay, so now I want to glue this so that it's kind of equal distance from this edge to this edge, but I want my points to go right in the middle of the ribbon. So I'm going to have to move it this way a little bit. I don't want my head to be in your way. And I'm going to just go ahead and put that right down there. Okay. Now you'll notice I did not put any dimensionals in the middle this time. I only put them on the edges. Because you've got this ribbon here and it's raised a little bit, you don't need the dimensionals in the middle because it's not going to flatten if you don't put one there because you have the ribbon under it. Okay, press that down. Okay, all right, now, so I'm going to show you how I do this ribbon with my comb, if I can find it. Where did you go? There you are. Okay, I got this comb at Dollar Tree in a package, and there was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 other ones in there. But I like this one because the prongs are about 1/4 inch apart. So I went ahead and marked it at 4, 6, and 8. But you have to use an even number of prongs when you're making your bow like this. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your ribbon, you're going to lay it so that you have a tail sticking out of the side, and you're going to hold it right on this last prong there. You're going to hold it with your thumb. Okay. Now, how many prongs you use depends on the size ribbon you want. If you wanted a tiny ribbon, you can use 4. If you wanted a tinier ribbon, you can use a fork. It's even tinier. This is like a middle size, and this ribbon here is this size here, which is 8 prongs. Okay, so I'm holding it with this hand, coming over here to the 8th prong, and I'm going down between the prongs after the 8th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'm going down after it. Okay, I'm still holding this really snug. I'm going to bring my ribbon up around the back of the comb, and then I'm going to put it right here between the first 2. Don't ever count the first one when you're counting the prongs, because that's the one you're going to hold on to, so you don't really count that. Now I see that my tail is not going to be as long as this one, so I'm just going to pull it a little bit to make them about even. Okay, now you're still holding this, and you're holding the end of this one as well. Okay, and this piece is the one that's wrapped around, so because I used 8, I'm going to have to count half of that, which is 4. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go down right there. Just right there below where I'm holding the ribbon that I'm holding. Okay, and then I'm just going to take it and I'm going to pull it through there. All right, then I'm going to lay my comb down. I'm going to put it in the 4th prong again. So I just went down and up. The same prongs. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to pull it kind of snug. You want your ribbon to be really taut. And you kind of hold the comb down with your knuckles. And then you just go ahead and you just tie a little knot there. And you pull it out to the side. You want to pull it out to the side. And you want to kind of pull it just like, you know, as hard as you can so it doesn't come apart. Okay? Then all you do is you're going to just slide this off. And there you go. All you got to do is trim the ends. And you've got the perfect bow. I usually do this after I have it on the card because it's easier to get them even. Get out of there. I pulled the threads a little bit, so it came out, but I've already got one made over here. So then, again, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue dots. I'm going to stick it on one, push it down, pull it back up. And because my ribbon is going to go sideways this time, I don't have to worry about this being thicker than the center of the bow. So I'll just turn my card here, and I'm just going to lay it down here like this. And push it down really good. Okay, just like that. And then after you lay it down is the best time to trim the ends. So I've already done that. Okay, and I already stamped the U. I'm sorry, I forgot that step, but I've already stamped the U. All right, so what I did here is I went ahead and I cut these out. And where'd the other one go? There it is. So what I'm going to do is, again, I don't want them to go way out here on the card. So I'm going to cut the ends off a little bit because they are long. So I'm going to cut, like, you know, about this part off here. Let's see, sticks in there. Yeah, still a little bit long. So I can cut it off a little bit more if I want to. Okay. And then I'm going to cut this one off just a little bit because I want them about, well, I don't need to, I don't think. All right, so I'm going to take my glue dot, put it under there. And I'm just going to stick it under here where I want it. Oops, get off of there. Okay, there, push it down. And then I'm going to do the same with this piece. Again, these are from the sunflower dies. A lot of sets have them now, so you can use any set that you have that has the little stems and leaves, or you don't have to use them at all. It's up to you. Got there. All right, so I'm going to just stick that one under there like that. And I don't know why. I like the way that looks. It's just something added to the card front. Adds dimension to it. Okay, for the inside now, I've already stamped with my whole heart in the Sahara Sand ink. Again, you don't have to use the same color ink that I did. If you don't have it, there are a lot of colors that go with Sahara Sand that you can use. And you can always use black. All right, so I went ahead and stamped that, and then I'm just going to glue this piece on down here. This one's a little wider than that one. I think I gave you a little wider piece as well. But I'm just going to go ahead and glue that on here in the bottom. Oops, this side. That's what I want. Okay, going in again about 1/4 inch. Because it's embossed, I'm going to add a little bit more glue here in the middle to hold it down. Okay, I'm going to line it up with the left side here and make sure it's even. Okay, the white showing. Okay. All right, now get over there. All right, looks like I don't need to cut. Well, I got a little bit here, but you can't really tell. So I don't really need to trim anything off. So I'm going to turn it over lightly. I'm going to burnish it down so I don't smash my embossing. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the glue on the back. Okay. 1/4 inch in from the sides so it doesn't smush out, and not too much. You just barely press the bottle. And if you don't get enough, you can always just come back and do a little bit more. Now, when you're doing the inside of the cards, if you are using the liquid glue, you only want to put it on the sides, because sometimes if you put it in the middle, it will actually show lines through your paper there. So that's why you always put it on the side. All right, now this one I wanted a little bit smaller, so I had a bigger border here. Let's make sure, yeah, before I press it down, up a little bit. Okay, there. All right, there we go. Turn it over and just press that down here. I decided to go ahead and do the videos apart. That way you can stop and you can take a break. You might come back the next day and do it. And you don't have to do 5 cards at one sitting. So, all right, there you go. It's all done. Love you with my whole heart. Again, does not have to be a Valentine's Day card. It can be just telling someone you love them. Like I tell my daughters all the time, you know, I send them cards saying, you know, I love you with my whole heart. You can send it to somebody for, you know, your husband for an anniversary. Someone can send it as a wedding card to their husband. Okay, very easy. All right, let's put that one aside, and then I will be right back.